Hello and welcome round to my house. Now, the forecast for this Saturday morning is looking pretty good. I'll be joined in the kitchen by one of this country's hottest chefs and another one who's used to working in areas of high pressure. And together we're going to be serving up plate after plate of delicious food for a Good Morning Britain weather presenter who'll be bringing some much-needed sunshine down to Hampshire today. So what are we doing out here? Let's get inside and let's get cooking.
Morning. Are you coming in then?
Good morning, and what a show we got lined up for you today. Today's a special one. There's an early start in store for Good Morning Britain's Laura Tobin, who will be here as she drops by the house very shortly. The very talented Lacey will be back as well. She's serving up dishes of leeks and larder. She takes over the kitchen a little bit later. And we got a pub classic from Chef Lenny Carr-Roberts. Yes, exactly, you know, it goes there. Lock-ins. And we'll be finding out what can be done to save the Great British Pub a little bit later. And don't miss this week's Little Masterclass, when we'll be teaching you everything you ever want to know about the humble artichoke. But my first guest in the kitchen is a chef who's worked with the likes of Jay Sheeky and Hicks and now can be found serving up incredible food in his Peckham manner. It's the one and only Ronnie Murray. Yay! Good you have at the back in the house, chef.
Thank you for having me back.
I've got to say that the response from the first dish you ever did here, this apple pie, if you've never tasted apple pie, and you want to taste the greatest apple pie ever made, it's this gentleman's here. You look at the recipe online. The response from it was massive.
I'm going to struggle to top it, anything I ever do in the future.
Well, you did this funky sort of, this deep
I did the omelette.
Egg omelette, that was really wacky.
Yeah, I did you an omelette and then deep fried it.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Well, I had 10 years of omelettes,
Yeah.
it scarred my brain, exactly. So what are you going to be cooking for us then?
So it's something still out there-ish. So we're going to do carrot top pesto. So a bit of a crusade about food waste and stuff at the minute.
Okay.
So we're going to do a carrot top pesto with a little carrot salad and then some no-waste barges. I'm going to show you how to use up everything that normally goes in the food recycle.
Sounds pretty good. I'm loving the T-shirt, by the way. Peckham Riviera. I'm loving the T-shirt. Anyway, right, we're going to kick things off today with a recipe of Thai mussels. I know you love your Thai flavours. We've got that with a nice little bit of sea bass. So the first thing I'm going to do, because it's all about the mussels for this one, is I'm going to get these started and get these cooking away. So we've got these amazing mussels, which I'll introduce you to in a second, but we're going to take a little bit of white wine. That's going to go in there just to cook our mussels. Nice and simple. Just move that out to one side. Here we go. So then we're going to take our lovely mussels over here. So these have been lovely and cleaned. They arrived to me like this. We're going to explain where they come from in a second. But they're going to go straight into our pan. And I'm going to cook these with sort of simple Thai flavours. And we're going to get on and do our sauce for this now, which I'm going to make a sort of a paste where we're going to take some ginger, some garlic, and I'm going to blend it all up with the stalks of the herbs. And then I'm going to blend it again with the tops of the herbs. So we're going to cook it out and then blend it again. That makes sense. So we're going to make the paste, first of all, with the chilli, with the garlic, with the ginger, and everything else. But like I say, it's all about these amazing mussels. Now, as you may or not know, because when we started this thing in lockdown, we decided to travel around the whole of the UK, and we've been all over the place. Jersey, Guernsey, Scotland, everywhere, Orkney, looking at the amazing produce that we have in this country. And you know, as a chef, and you've been cooking almost as long as I have, the amazing produce that we have in this country.
It's the best produce in the world.
It is. But you go venturing out and you meet new and interesting things and you think you know everything about food and then another thing comes up. But we're going to go now to this amazing mussel farm, this amazing mussel producer. We're heading down to Lyme Bay in Devon, where the power of the internet, hopefully, look at that, right in the middle of the ocean. We should be able to speak to Sarah Homeyard from Offshore Shellfish. There she is. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Hi, nice to meet you.
So tell us, I mean, first of all, it looks beautiful out there. How far out to sea have you? Where are you? Where are you geography-wise? Where are you?
It's our offshore shellfish mussel farm. We're in the bay in Devon. So if I give you a quick tour, we've got the men harvesting the mussels in the background there, and then you can see over here the cliffs of Devon and our other boat working away there. So that's Idmouth over there. So yes, to give you some bearing.
So tell me how it all started, because you recently got involved in it. Tell me how it all started, first of all, because it's a family-run business. Where did it all start? How did it all start?
Well, my dad started farming mussels in Scotland about 35 years ago because he wanted to be a mussel farmer. It was a bit of a random occupation, but no, something he really wanted to do, so that's what he did. And we moved down to Devon and set up this offshore mussel farm in 2014, the first went in the water. And really, this has sort of been set up to be regenerative aquaculture in its purest form. We put ropes in the water, the mussels grow. We give lots back to the environment in terms of the mussels absorb carbon. The whole of the farm itself acts as a nursery ground for so many other species. I saw sea bass on your recipe today. We catch lots of sea bass around the farm here, and so did commercial fishermen, because you know they live in and around the ropes and they grow well here, as well as sea bream and other creatures like that. I saw bluefin tuna jumping earlier as well, so there's all sorts around here.
So tell us how you produce the rope grown mussels. How does it work?
So we, I don't know if you can see in the background here the lines. We have headlines in the water, which we then run longer lines off of, and they are in a continuous dropper format throughout the water. Have many lines of these, and we put ropes in the water. We put like a special hairy rope into the water, and we collect mussel seed, the spat on those, and then we relay them onto other ropes, right density, so that we can harvest them at the right time throughout the year.
So do these sit on the bottom of the ocean? How does it? I'm assuming when you put the mussels in, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to feed them. You just put them in and then you harvest them, do you? Or do you have to pull them out and clean the ropes off and then put them back in again? How does it?
Yeah.
Where are the ropes go? Right on the bottom of the ocean?
No. So these are suspended from the top, so they're not touching the bottom of the ocean at all. We do have two anchor points on each headline, which are anchored into the seabed. And then these ropes that you could just about see here are suspended and held up by these buoys. And so it's not on the seabed at all. It's suspended mid-water, and it creates no damage. It adds a lot back to the environment. And I've just seen one of the guys in the background catch a sea bass, so that's perfect for you.
It's perfect timing as well. It's amazing to see.
In the pan already.
Exactly. It's in the pan already as well. So tell me about, harvest-wise, you close it just a few months of the year, aren't you? You're producing mussels all throughout the winter, for sure.
Yeah, so we produce mussels most of the year. We tend to stop harvesting in about March, and then we will restart in July. The mussels are spawning then, and then they're recovering from spawning. So when they're spawning, the texture goes a bit grainy and they're not quite so nice to eat. And then when they're recovering, the meats are very small. So what you will hopefully see from these mussels today is how amazing the meat yield is in those mussels. Our mussels, because it's such a large spread out area and they've got so much access to the phytoplankton that they feed on, our mussels grow very quickly, and so the meats are nice and tender. They grow quickly and they grow big.
Now, obviously, there's a big difference between farming in Scotland to farming where you are. Do they go quicker down south? I'm assuming they do, because the sea's warmer. Is that the benefit?
Absolutely. Sea's warmer, and also just the way that we've set up the farm here. We are in the open ocean, as you can see. There's nothing beyond there. And in Scotland, all of the mussel farming is done in sea locks, so they are quite sheltered bodies of water, and they don't have, we've got a huge tidal flow here, and that was one of the main reasons for setting up in this area, because there's such a massive flow through of water, which carries all the nutrients with it. That was one of the reasons. So yeah, in Scotland they tend to grow in about years, whereas here will be that size that you've got there in 12 to 15 months.
Well, we're going to come back to you in a minute, because I know you've got bits and pieces to do on the boat, so I'm going to carry on and make this, and we'll come back to you in a second, all right? So we're just going to basically show you how to finish off this sort of sauce, really. But we've got this paste in here. I've got the sea bass cooking away nicely over here. And then we want to put this back in the pan. So you get a double whammy with this, really. You want to fry this off, because this is your paste, but we're actually going to blend it again. So
and you had fish paste in there as opposed to fish sauce.
Yeah, I've got the fish paste. I've got a little bit of... I kind of use the fish sauce as a little seasoning.
Yeah.
So, like yourself, you use the sesame oil and the soy and everything else as a little seasoning and the balance at the end of it.
Paste tends to have a more intense flavour, right?
I think the paste has got a lot more intense flavour.
Yeah.
And so often with this, as you know, depending on... You don't really want to do this in your own kitchen. You do it in somebody else's kitchen. You barbecue the paste.
Yeah.
You know when you toast the paste?
Yeah, either outside or someone else.
Somebody else's house. Yeah, usually somebody else's house you do this sort of stuff. But you take this paste, and this is the shrimp paste. I mean, it smells okay as it is, but trust me, when you start barbecuing it...
You start getting it hot.
Yeah, when you start getting it really hot, barbecuing it, and the flavour comes out, it can be pretty unbelievable. So what you want to do, really, is we're just going to cook out this paste a little bit. So a little bit of oil. Cook this out, but you want to keep the flavours nice and fresh. That's why I'm actually going to reblend it again once I've added some of the herbs. We're going to take some of our little bit of coconut milk. The mussels over there, as you can see, I mean, they're amazing.
They're so amazing. They're like proper plump, right?
But you see the sauce is starting to go in. You can add a bit more of this coconut milk in there.
And you didn't peel the ginger, I noticed, as well.
No, well, I
never peel ginger anymore.
No, I like the heat of the ginger.
Yeah.
I don't know about itself, but to me, the heat of the ginger really, really works. But then once you've got this mixture, it's very, very quick to cook, so the fish is almost cooked like that. We're just going to heat this through, and then we add the rest of our sort of ingredients. So I can add a few more bits of herbs. We've got some mint. I've got some coriander over here. You get this stuff, well, you can get this Thai basil, this sort of holy basil, they call it as well, don't they? It's quite a fragrant basil, but we're going to take all this.
Perfect. Thai basil, beautiful flavour, but you need to use it about the day you get it.
You've got to use it quite straight away.
I don't know about you, but every time I go into a kitchen fridge, they're always black.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't keep that well, does
It's not good for the GP, right?
Yeah, and I don't know how it works, because when you buy it, it kind of sits there in these supermarkets, and it's absolutely
beautiful.
fine. And you take it back home, and it's just gone straight away.
Yeah.
But I would add more herbs to this at the last minute, and then we're going to re-blend this up into a smooth paste now. So now we can blend this going. But this way you get an amazing colour to it. Look, if I just take this now.
You know what we need to do to make our fortune, don't you?
What's
Invent
that?
a blender that doesn't make any noise just for TV.
An eco-friendly
We can
electric...
retire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we're just going to take our mussels, put that back in here to create a nice little sauce. And like Ronnie was saying, you can adapt and change this flavour how you want it, but we've got a little bit of soy in here. You can put sesame, you can put a little bit of fish sauce, that kind of stuff, some lime and all that kind of stuff in there as well.
And interestingly, you didn't season the fish, right?
No, I haven't put... I don't think you need it with it. There's so much stuff.
It's all in that, right?
There's so much stuff. This is where the flavour is.
Yeah.
So Sarah, I know I saw you've been working in the background there on the boat as well. So the expansion for you, because when you're doing this now, you're producing about, well, you can tell us, about a couple of 1,000 tonnes a year of mussels.
Yeah, on this farm we produce over 2,000 tonnes a year at the moment, but it's got the capacity to go over 10,000 tonnes. So yeah, it's still growing. It's still growing as well.
Well, we wish
like
you...
the mussel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we wish you all the very best with it. Best of luck with everything. It's fantastic to see, and where it's from as well, and what you're doing, and the product speaks for itself as well. The quality of it's fantastic. Next time over there, I'm definitely I'll come out to see how it's made and see how it's produced. And thank you for being a part of this as well. I'll speak to you soon.
No worries. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. So just to simply now, we'll just get a couple of plates. Like I say, I think this is the simplicity key more than anything else. But we've got
amazing. So did I see you put a bit of the mussel cooking stock back in there as well?
So rather than put water,
yeah,
well, you've got all this lovely flavour from the mussels. I've just put those back in and to slacken the sauce down a little bit. But by blending it a secondary time with the mint and everything else, you get this amazing colour from it. But a little bit of that.
Look at that, amazing.
And then we've got Some more mussels that can go on here as well.
That's when you know you've got a proper green paste, because it is actually green, as opposed to some of the ones you buy that's not quite.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
You've got
green.
a little bit of that, and then, of course, you've got your wonderful little fish that can sit on the top.
That's
And then I've got this. This is, again, a little bit of micro coriander, which I grow in the garden. You can grow this. You can actually get it from garden centres. You can get this and this. It's called red amaranth. And you grow this on tissue paper, like you used to grow cress at home.
You say on the windowsill. I've got it on the
And now
windowsill.
chefs are paying a fortune for this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I grow this in the greenhouse, and it grows all year round. It's just ace. It's called red amaranth. Look out for it in the garden centre. You just grow it on a little bit of tissue paper. What I do with any leftover bits of herbs before they go black, I make a little bit of oil, and this is a little bit of coriander oil that goes with it. So there you have it. My version of Thai green mussels. Done. Right, there you have it, mate.
Oof.
There you have it.
Fantastic. Look
So,
at that.
it's not bad, is it? Really? And these are quite deceptive, aren't they? When they first, I looked at them, they're quite. You think they're really small, but
I thought that. I was looking at them going, I'm not sure about them. They look a bit small.
Wow,
Actually, I don't really mind what size they are, as long as what's
the amount
inside,
of meat
right?
in there,
That's what you're
it's
after.
amazing, yeah.
Well, it's delicious. It's good.
Fresh.
Perfect, because you sort of worry, don't you? You start getting too many flavours into something delicate like mussel and sea bass, but that really...
They work
brings
really
it
well,
out.
but I think you don't want to be overcooking anything, particularly the Thai green curry.
No.
It's not like a chicken, which you'll get away with it, but this, you want to keep it nice and fresh.
Because I think people look at it and they look at all the ingredients in the recipe and go, it's going to take forever. Actually, it's really quick, right?
Yeah, really, really quick. There you have it. Then you don't have to do it with fish and just do it with mussels. There you
Yeah.
go. Still to come, we've got dishes from Ronnie and Pip Lacey, and we're making a chicken blanquette, a white chicken blanquette for my guest, Laura Tobin, very shortly. Going French classic for that one. Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we'll be joining mouth-watering pub classics from Mr. Lenny Carl Roberts. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, coming up, I'll be sharing some recipe ideas for artichokes in this week's Little Masterclass. And Good Morning Britain's Laura Tobin will be dropping by the house very shortly. But before that, I thought I'd take a look at some of the dishes you've been cooking at home. And first up, we've got Dawn Cracknell, who made this amazing slow-cooked Moroccan lamb dish. Now, I cooked it on the show a few months ago. It looks epic, that Dawn, particularly with the pomegranate. I'm sure it tasted delicious. Next up, we've got Jeff Buckthorpe, who had to show off with his toad in the hole. Now, you can't beat toad in the hole this time of the year. Just what you want for lunch or dinner. Just check that out as well. 8 eggs, 8 ounces of flour, pint of milk, make it the day before, hot oil or dripping or lard, something like that, in a tray. That's what you end up with. It's brilliant, with proper gravy. Now, we've got another photograph from Jamie Hoyle, who made this dish from the Philippines using an amazing short rib of beef. Look how tempting that looks. Slowly cooked with a little bit of rice. Fantastic recipe, that. And finally, a big well done goes to Andrea Houghton, who had a go at those chocolate fondants that I made. She made them so perfectly, they've even got a malted hole in the middle. Now, do keep sending your pictures and videos coming in. We love to see what you've been inspired to cook at home. OK, it's time for another recipe. And for once, I'm putting my feet up for this bit as we head over the fields in kind of that direction to my other local pub landlord, Chef Lenny Carl Roberts, for an amazing recipe. Enjoy this one.
So when you think about pub classics, there is nothing better than a Scotch egg. And we're going to show you how to do a perfect Scotch egg with a gooey centre today. Not like those ones you get in the supermarket that are hard-boiled. This is a great dish. Really simple to do, just takes a bit of care and attention. So let's talk about the ingredients. Our Scotch egg, I use haggis and sausage meat. 2 great ingredients, and I use the haggis as the seasoning element of the dish. The only other thing we have is eggs. Now, these eggs, I've taken my time with these. I've made sure I've cooked them to absolute perfection. 5.5 minutes boiling, really good free-range egg, and then straight into iced water to stop the cooking process. That enables the egg to be nice and gooey in the middle. So when we deep fry it and we cut it, there's going to be a fantastic runny yolk in the middle. So let's get cracking with this great pub classic. In the bowl, I've got this fantastic free-range pork sausage meat. with our haggis. Like I say, the haggis is the seasoning element to this dish, and it also gives a great texture as well. And I usually use between 50-50, and we sell a lot of these. We're constantly making them every day. So, good mix. I can smell the haggis already. Like I say, you don't need to add too much seasoning with this. It's just making sure that the haggis allows itself to flavour the sausage meat. Once that's all mixed up like so, get a good mix up. And we're almost ready to wrap the egg. So, that is ready. Hands a quick wash. And let's go and get this egg wrapped. Cling film's the best way of doing this. It enables you to be able to close it around the egg. I know everyone buys normal value cling film, but you know, in kitchens, professional kitchens, we use the best stuff we can buy. It's a bit stronger, and it's just worth buying. So, there is my Scotch egg mix. Like I say, I haven't seasoned this because the haggis itself is the seasoning. Nice and flat, like so. And then in with my egg. And now it's a case of bringing it together. Like so, and the cling film helps you bring this together. Be careful you don't squeeze too hard. You don't want to break that yolk. And as if by magic, we have our sealed egg. And it's very important that you keep it sealed because you don't want the fat from the fryer to get inside the sausage meat. And as you can see, you can get the little tiny Scotch eggs, but this is a beauty. It's massive. It's a pub. You're here to be fed. That's what we're doing. Right, that Scotch egg is now ready for pané. We're going to do the pané. So, flour, breadcrumb, and egg. Really simple. Straight into the flour. That enables the egg to stick to the egg, as it were. Then into the egg, and then the egg. That enables the panko breadcrumbs here to stick to that. So these panko breadcrumbs are Japanese. You could use fresh breadcrumbs, it's not a problem, but we find this is the best way. And then from there, it goes back into the egg for a double dip. And this gives it an amazing double crunch on the outside. And you see how I'm taking my time to make sure it's lovingly coated. So that Scotch egg is bigger than a cricket ball, and it's now ready for the fryer. Okay, so that's going to go into 180-degree vegetable oil, and that'll be 7 minutes. Gentle cooking, and you're going to have the perfect Scotch egg. So the key to this is make sure you've always got really clean oil. We filter our oil every day. You know, most pubs do the same, but good vegetable oil is all you need. So lots to do in the pub. So I'm going to, while that's cooking, going to clear down, get ready for service. Okay, that's 8 minutes up. This beautiful Scotch egg can come out. Oh, that looks amazing. Perfect. Okay, Scotch egg is ready to go. We're going to serve this with a little bit of our homemade brown sauce. So I'll just put that on the plate. In this brown sauce, we've just got dates, molasses, Worcester sauce, a little bit of xanthan gum, and lots of seasoning, a bit of allspice. So let's cut this egg. Let's see if we've got it right. So, down the middle. Always use a bread knife for this, so it doesn't collapse the egg. Now, with a bit of luck, self-saucing, beautiful Scotch egg. On the plate like so. A little sprinkle of sea salt, and that, there's nothing better than a Scotch egg in a pub. Look at that, beautiful. Now this beauty deserves a pint or two.
Still to come, we've got recipes for no-waste barges and leeks and lardo on the way from chefs Ronnie Murray and Pip Lacey. And I'll see you back here in a couple of minutes when we'll be whipping up a little simple chicken blanquette, chicken stew in French, for GMB's Laura Tobin. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, coming up, chefs Ronnie Murray and Pip Lacey will be showcasing their skills in the kitchen a little bit later. And we're looking at ways of saving your local pubs very shortly. But first, I'm here with a Good Morning Britain presenter who's been bringing us the weather on ITV for the last 10 years, come rain or shine. It's the brilliant Laura Tobin. Yeah! Welcome to the house. Now, ching, ching, ching.
Cheers.
Ching, ching. Welcome to the house. We've got you in the end as well. You've come to the house.
I've been waiting for that.
Welcome.
Lovely. Thank you.
First of all, I know you're a keen cook as well, but not you don't do much cooking, but love your food.
I love food. I love eating. It's really important that I know when my next meal is coming.
Right.
But I don't cook very much because I'm not very good at it.
Okay. Well, we're going to start with something. We're going to do a chicken stew, ready? But we're going to do it's more elaborate if it's French. Chicken with Riesling, so poulet Riesling. So really, really simple. We're going to portion up this chicken. You can buy it already portioned up. This is a white chicken stew. Now, chicken has got 4 pieces of dark meat, 4 pieces of white meat in it. So what we do is we remove the legs like that. So this is what I used to do when I was at college. You got the chef's eye of the oyster, you remove that out, and you cut that all out, and that's your one leg and thigh, all right?
I recognise them.
You recognise that now. Well, I'll tell you what, you recognise it, because this is half a chicken in a bucket. That's how you recognise it. We've got the legs and the thigh, we cut through, and you've got your 4 pieces of dark meat, all right?
Great.
Meanwhile, I'll chop the rest of it up, because I want to talk about yourself, really, but, I mean, what a career you've had. But you fell in love with geography very, very young, didn't you?
Yeah, I always feel like this is a bit of a loser story, but...
Well, it's definitely not. You're pretty successful, I think.
Yeah, I was really lucky that at 14, I literally had this, like, epiphany moment, and it changed my whole life, and it meant that I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I'm doing what I do now, which I genuinely believe
What was
is the best job in the world. So my geography teacher, at the age of 14, got the classroom to line up a row of girls and a row of boys. Right. And he said, boys, you're the cold air, girls, you're warm air, and I want you to run from one side of the classroom to the other, but bumping into each other and see what happens when you get to the other side. So we're 14 and we're running and we're pushing each other. And when we get to the other side, we're not a straight line anymore, we're a wiggly line. And he said, that is how the jet stream works. You've got cold air pushing down from the Arctic, warm air pushing up from the equator. Where they meet, there's a battleground set up, and that's the jet stream, and that brings us wet and windy weather, or it moves to our north and it brings us sunshine, it moves to the south and it brings us cold. And instantly I had this vision of how our atmosphere moves. And so that day I phoned the Met Office and I said...
That very day?
Yeah, that day. How do I become a weather
Love
forecaster?
This.
So I found out I had to do A-level maths and physics, which for a 14-year-old girl isn't the best news in the world.
Right.
But I ended up loving physics, and so I did physics meteorology at uni. So every step I took was to get to that degree course, and then I graduated from Reading and went to the Met Office and did my forecaster training, and it just kind of boom, 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 just worked out.
But how do you go from sort of finishing at university to sort of doing this as a career? Because, I mean, you worked for the RAF as well.
Yes.
Right? That was amazing.
It was amazing.
How do you come out of doing that and get a job in that, if that makes sense?
And that's the thing, I had no idea of all of the places that weather forecasting can take you. You know, it's really important for transportation. My very first job was forecasting for the road network for gritters, forecasting for the energy companies, because if it's cloudy, you need more electricity.
For who?
For the whole national grid.
Where are you doing that from?
Oh, so I worked at Cardiff Weather Centre, first of all, so forecasting for the whole of Wales and South West England, so that people had enough electricity. When they turn the lights on, if it's really cold, you're going to use your boilers more. So just all those little things that input to make sure that we can just live normal lives. I used to do the hill walking forecast. I had to put on my hill walking voice. Right. And I did that for about a year.
I never thought there was a hill walking forecast.
And then, so the Met Office provide forecasters all around the country. So there are RAF bases and Army bases. And the job came up at Brize Norton, which is, for those who don't know, it's like the RAF's airport. You know, the crews fly all over the world, but they also do local flights. So that's where the air-to-air refuelers are. I used to have to forecast for pilots, say, flying to Afghanistan. And we had one time that the crew needed to refuel an aircraft to get to Afghanistan for the last flight for Christmas to bring people home and take all of the presents, but there were thunderstorms. And obviously you can't refuel an aircraft if there's thunderstorms, and there's a lot of pressure because the crew are about to run out of their flying time, but you don't want them to go out and it's unsafe, and then you have to find a window of opportunity, and you do, and you feel like a hero. You're like, I saved the day, you know, the make or break weather just came down to, you know, your singular forecast. So, yeah, I love it.
So you're doing absolutely the job you love. So there's both of us in here doing the jobs that we absolutely love as well. And never wanted to be on TV. But how did that happen for you then? Because you did a few bits of radio, wasn't it? Bits and pieces?
Yeah, so my boss used to say, we've got an extra radio shift coming, Laura, can you do it? And I say, oh, I actually don't like talking in front of people. I mean, I do like talking, but just knowing that lots of people are listening, or even if eyes are on you, is quite scary. So my RAF base was fine because you just used to brief a crew at a time.
Yeah.
4 people would come in, but some of them you'd have 50 people, and that was scary. But the BBC, they just had lots of ladies go off on maternity leave. They really needed another female presenter. They said, we're looking for somebody, and my boss went, just go and see what it's all about. And, you know, I think you should never say never. And I thought, I want to go. And they did radio from Radio 1 to Radio 4, you know, the shipping forecast. They did BBC World, so forecasting for every country in the world. And I just thought, actually, I thought that people would just go, oh, you're a weather girl. But there was loads more to it than that. And
it appears like there's mist forming as well while I'm chatting to you. This is the pan,
oh, yeah.
Sorry about that, over you as well. But we just got here, I'll just recap what we got going on here. We got the onions frying away. This is for a little pilaf rice. We use long grain rice, and you pop that in. You measure the rice. It's usually double quantity, liquid to rice.
Ah.
All right?
Good to know.
Water goes in there, and then we leave that, mix that together, and gently simmer that with a lid. Now, if you work in professional kitchens like my house, we haven't really got lids or many lids because the lids are more expensive than the pan usually, so we throw them away or get rid of them or don't buy them. You make a little cartouche. So cartouche is a circle out of a square. Fold this over, fold that over, fold that over, fold that over. Measure the pan.
Ah.
Take a little knife or a pair of scissors, cut round, and what I do is leave a little hole in the middle, and then it makes a little cartouche.
Very good.
Out there as well. Sit that, instead of a lid, sits that over the top of your rice. You gently leave that to simmer for about 15 minutes, and then that's what's done. So, but also, I'm intrigued to know where you get the information from at this particular time in the morning, because you're starting at what time in the morning?
4.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Are you doing the research the night before? How does it work?
It's all the time. Like, it's all the time. But, you know, us weather presenters, we live and breathe weather. I've got different WhatsApp groups, not just for the UK, but for all around the world, where we share weather stories. So I'll send stuff into the newsroom in the afternoon, and in the evening, the last thing before bed, I'll have a little scroll and see what's on. And then at 4 o'clock in the morning, I phone the Met Office, and there's a team of forecasters who are there for media outlets. And we have probably chat for about 20 minutes and then go, well, let's go on with the forecast. And then I come in and I just brief the newsroom on what's going on with the weather. And
they decide where stuff goes on a map, because, but, you know, now it's all computerised. It's like green screen now, but it's not that kind of stuff. But I remember when the weather used to be stuck on.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you still organise where? I mean,
it's all computer generated,
right.
and actually the screen is behind me, so I can see it now. But back in the day, you couldn't.
So this is. I'm just going to finish this off because I want to talk about the next thing you're doing. This is the reduction now. This is a bit to get right, really. So you take the chicken out, which I've got in here, leave the gubbins in. All the liquid that's drained out, we keep adding it back to here, so we don't lose anything. But this is the key to it. This is called a liaison, which is basically egg yolks and double cream. Mm-hmm. So we get this to a reduction, and then we're going to thicken it with this. I put the chicken back in, and we almost serve it straight away, salt and pepper. So that's that. But it leads me on to what we want to talk about as well today, because this book, I got delivered this book a couple of weeks ago. This is your new book, your first ever book.
Yes.
So tell us about it, because this is a lot of work. I mean, I originally looked at it and thought, is it for kids' books? And then you're looking at it going, wow, this is an awful lot of work.
It is, thank you. Well, you know, I've been forecasting the weather for nearly 20 years now. I've been doing it on TV for nearly 15, and I'm just reporting more on severe weather, more on extreme weather events, more on devastating impacts. And actually, you know, you have to join the dots, and you know that the Earth is warming, and we know that we're doing it. And years ago, we didn't talk about climate change, and then we do, and we say, we know it's us, we know we're making things hotter. And, a few years ago, all people were saying to me is, yes, but what can I do, and will it make a difference? And I was like, there's so much you can do, and yes, it can.
But this isn't what the great thing about this book. It's not a lecturing book, and this is one thing I wanted. It's the little small things you can do for the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You're not telling people to turn vegetarian. You're not telling them not to fly.
To do that, yeah. And actually, you have to live your lives. People can still eat meat, but make sure that it's locally produced and locally sourced. I don't eat red meat, just maybe mostly chicken and fish is what I eat, and I reduce all my meat consumption and have more vegetables and buying seasonal. But I think when you start to make little changes, you then want to make more changes, and that's the catalyst. You do it and then tell someone else, But, loads of things will not just save the planet, but also save money. And I joke about my husband being really tight, but he is really tight. But loads of things we do already because he wants to save money. So, yeah.
It's a knock-on effect for everything. That's the thing with the whole book. But it's not just one thing. It's accumulation of everything.
Yeah. And now, with food prices, petrol prices, energy prices, that's 75% of our emissions are how we travel, how we heat our homes and what we eat.
But you see that dramatically. You see that dramatically in terms of, travel is what, you said something like, it's 2%, whereas waste food, for instance, I was looking at that.
10% of our emissions is the food we just throw away.
Waste food?
Yeah.
Yeah, which, I don't know whether that's from me in the north or a chef. We don't like wasting anything.
No.
Which leads me on to our finished dish, really, which we've got on here.
Smells
I basically put this liquid, this finish emulsion in there, and that's the key to it. You end up with this amazing sauce. This is this delicious little sauce, which is the cream and the egg yolks thicken it. This is a proper dish.
Already.
It's a dish that I know it always just does that. God, could you do it? It's fantastic. But this is the little pilaf rice. Now, when I was in France, I've had this with pilaf rice. I've had it with a little salad. I've had it with mashed potato. But you've just got this pilaf rice, which you can see is nice and fluffy with it. But it can be a brasserie sort of dish in France. It can be a restaurant-y dish. It's how you make it. But what it is, a wonderful little dish to have a go at home. It really, really is. But the key to this is, look, you've got this. Now, while I was a chef, we used to this other one, which was with grapes. Sometimes it's with grapes, and you add to this as a little garnish. It's with Riesling and Muscat grapes. And this is, I was in France when I was 12 years old, working in restaurants, and they used to get me to peel the Muscat grapes.
No.
Peel Muscat grapes. But you have to serve this classically, of course, not just with Muscat grapes, but I couldn't be bothered to peel them. You have to do it with this. These are heart-shaped croutons dipped in parsley that go with it. But there you have it, a classic chicken blanquette that's very easy to do at home. Give it a go and have a go. You don't waste any of it as well. Keep those vegetables in there as well. Done. Easy as that.
Amazing.
Well, bon appetit. There you go. That's your
Yes.
first dish.
This looks amazing.
We'll dive into that.
Thank you so much.
I would say try it at home, but if, tell me what you think. It's classically French.
That is so
Sat
good.
there with a glass of red wine. You could be on a little French street in Paris. It's absolutely stunning, that. Give it a go. It's fantastic. Right, I'll be cooking a second course for Laura a little bit later on in the show. And Chef Pip Lacey will be treating me to leeks and lardo also. But join us again after the break when it's Ronnie Murray's turn to fire up the stores. He makes some no-waste barges. I'll see you in a bit. It's delicious, that. I might have a little bit of bacon. Welcome back. Now, coming up, I'll give you some serving suggestions for artichokes and this week's little masterclass. But first, I'm here with a chef who's worked in some of the London's finest restaurants and popped up everywhere recently, from Great British Menu to Cooking with the Stars. It's brilliant, Ronnie Murray! Pip Lacey's with us as well. So what are we going to be making then, Chefy? Well, this sounds interesting. Carrots.
So today we're going to some beautiful carrots. So we're going to make a carrot top pesto.
Yeah.
Because I think most people probably put a carrot top in a bin, which is a real shame because they're actually delicious. We're going to shave some carrots, make a little salad to go with that.
Yeah.
And then that needs a bit of texture. So we're going to use up some other stuff that normally goes in the bin. So broccoli stalk, most people put that in the food recycling. Spring onion tops, the best bit in my opinion. Most people, especially my chefs, chop to about there.
And then leave it.
Yeah, that goes in the bin. And then the coriander stalks, which I think I've probably been quite vocal about. I love coriander stalks. So we're just going to make a little bhaji to go in the salad with that. And then last minute addition, I smoked some salmon at home yesterday in my smoker in the garden, so I thought that'd be quite nice to pop in. Because we've got a little smoker in the garden. Obviously, Peckham, the centre of the universe.
Peckham Smokehouse, all right?
Yeah.
So you want me to do the carrots? So I'm just going to basically just chop this and just trim off the tops?
Kind of go, there. And then we're going to put that in a blender.
OK.
So that goes in a blender.
OK, we'll give it a go. There we go.
So we can shave a few.
So where did your love of food start then, as a young kid? How did that start?
Well, so when growing up, my grandparents both had gardens. They, you know, obviously from the war, sort of, you know, did a lot of growing. So we used to just, I guess, lots of food out of the garden and stuff from there. My mum's a chef. So yeah, so cooking's always kind of been around. So that's kind of where things started.
Right, so we got that in there. And Peckham, tell us about Peckham Manor then. Tell us about this place.
So the centre of the world.
The centre of the universe.
Centre of the universe, Peckham.
Yeah.
It's very cool now, very cosmopolitan. So yeah, lots going on there. Like a little garden, got a smoker, take the dog out for a walk, bit of foraging in the park. Great park right opposite us. Everyone thinks London's full of all built up stuff, right? There's loads of green spaces in London.
Foraging in the park in Peckham?
Yeah.
What do you get in Peckham
Crab
Park?
apples, sloes, rowans, wild garlic.
Fantastic.
Got it all going on.
So we've got walnuts in here.
Chicken wings.
Chicken wings.
That's what the dog forage is for.
Right, we've got a bit of that. And you want some orange in here, do you, as well?
Yeah, it's a little bit of cheese goes in last. We'll fold that in. Sorry,
Yeah, OK.
My fault. I should have told you.
Oh, is that? All right. I'll take it out then.
That's all right. No one will know.
Nobody's known. You didn't see that bit.
No. So we'll just get the carrot on now. I'm going to put a little bit of orange juice, a little bit of orange zest in here, and then we'll just leave that to marinate for a second while we're making the rest of the dish. So the carrots still stay crunchy, but they've got a little... The citrus will kind of soften it a little bit.
Now, I mentioned some of the places where you worked as well. You worked with some amazing chefs over the years. I mean, Mr. Mark Hicks, you know, I mean, chef's chef, as we call him, isn't he, really?
That's why I've got no hair.
Stress.
Million miles an hour. Yeah, I mean, I guess that, you know, Mark's...
But as an ideas man, he's right up there with ideas
incredible.
for restaurants and stuff like that.
Mark, I mean, he was forage, you know, he was using all this forage stuff miles ahead of, you know, all the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know, we you know, I remember when we, you know, opened all the restaurants in London, all this stuff would come in, never seen it before, you know, it's mad.
Yeah.
3 ingredients on a plate.
Right, so that's orange.
So a little bit of orange juice, a little bit of orange zest, and then a little bit of rapeseed.
This is not far off now. I'll season this up.
Yeah, season that.
Salt and pepper.
It's a twist of pepper in there, please, chef.
I'll do that.
And then the good thing, so the carrot, you can spend ages trying to shave the middle, but we're going to do some little no-waste bhaji's as well. So I'm literally just going to slice that up. That can go in. So the great thing with these bhaji's that we're going to use as like a crouton in our salad is anything kicking around the bottom of the fridge, basically. We're going to mix it with a bit of gram flour, a bit of fizzy water, and then some spices, and we're just going to fry that off.
Parmesan cheese folded in at the end.
Yeah, please. Lovely consistency, you know. Nice.
Thank you very much.
Pesto, chef. Very nice.
Practice, I think, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I reckon. You've done that before, eh?
I've done it a few times before,
couple of pestos.
A few times
Carrot
before.
tops, though?
No, not with carrot tops. I don't know about you. Carrot tops, you must...
Yeah, it's a bit crunchy,
Yeah.
dirty sometimes.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, you got to
Just need to
give them
wash
a good wash.
Yeah.
It's like coriander. People don't realise commercially, don't they? Grow
I
them in
always
sand.
use all the coriander.
Coriander, carrots, all that stuff's grown in really sort of sandy
And I've
soil.
one little
isn't it?
lump in there. But
Yeah.
just,
I'll carry on to use the whole lot, without show that. Right, so we got...
Broccoli stalk.
Yeah.
Normally found in the food recycling bin.
Tons of flavour in this, though.
Loads of flavour in it. Loads of flavour.
I've used a lot in soups, this. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
They're going to go in there.
Onion?
Yeah, onion. a bit chili, and then if you chop the chili.
Yeah, I'll chop the chili.
I'll do spring onion tops.
Yeah.
As we were saying.
So it's also, you've got the Peckham, but you're also consulting for a lot of places as well.
Yeah, so we do a bit of consulting, doing a bit of food styling these days. So yeah, lots and lots of stuff going on. So we just opened a nice little cafe in Brighton that we're consulting on. That's up and running now, right by the sea, which is good. Port kitchen.
Right, that's going in there. There you go.
So unlike all your other chefs, James, I'll give you the nice bit of the spring onion back.
Thank you. Exactly.
I use the bit that you normally find in the bin, right?
Yeah. So a little chili.
Little chili in there. Got it. All the seed and everything. We think the same. And then I'm going to go a little bit of turmeric in there.
Yeah.
A little bit of onion seed, nigella seed. A little bit of mustard seed, ground cumin.
So I got into so much trouble as this as a kid, because the way to get your granny back or your mum back is just when you just put that on the worktop and then wait for the reaction.
Yeah, because it looks like something else.
Yeah.
So
Rent-a-kill arrived. They're going.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Because
yeah, exactly.
I have thought about maybe that might fool the EHO.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
But we won't go there. And then the other thing we want in there, a bit coriander stalk.
Yeah.
To put.
So you're still using the gram flour, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So gram flour in there. So we would get the gram flour in now, and then basically that's just to. You sort of know when you got... I mean, there's a recipe for this, obviously, but it's sort of a bit touchy-feely, right? So the gram flour, you want to cover everything.
Like all my recipes.
Yeah.
I know.
I know. We get your recipes for this show. I know exactly what
Half a
it is.
teaspoon of this.
It's a work in progress, I tell the team. It'll happen.
Well, I came, and your lovely team, and they got the recipe out, and I went, we'll use mine, and there's ink all over it. So I brought it. I was like, you got an orange, you got some basil.
So you coat all the ingredients.
So yes, so perfect. So you want that coated, and then fizzy water, basically, just to bring it together.
Yeah.
It's great team effort there.
Yeah. But you don't want it too wet, though, do you?
No. In fact, if anything, start off a bit drier, fry one, test it, and then try. Because you can always add...
The temptation is to add a lot more water.
You can always add, you can't take out. Oh, we have a wee more little splash there, Chef. But yeah, what you don't want is, you don't want donuts, right? You want...
Yeah. Well, otherwise they come quite soggy, don't they, really?
Yeah, exactly. You know when you get, like, all claggy and... Yeah. You want to sit... But the thing is, so when you pinch it together, it should just hold. Right, so you still want to be able to see the texture, right?
Yeah. So you don't want to mould it up in too much of a ball. You just want to leave it quite
yeah, exactly.
up.
Yeah, just so it'll hold together. So when you fry it,
you want me to do?
Do you want to fry those?
I'll let you do others, and you can do.
So when you fry it off, you want to be able to still see the texture. If it comes out as a big doughy ball, you've gone too far. Yeah. But yeah, like I say, you can always put a bit more in.
Tell us about the salmon then. How do you end up with your salmon that we got here?
Okay, so. This is our... So I always say when I do the salmon in Peckham, everyone goes, well, how big is your garden? No, don't get the salmon in Peckham. We just smoke it. So we get really nice salmon. This is from Loch Jurt. Yeah. So farm salmon, because it's always a waste to smoke wild salmon, right? That would be crazy. Yeah. And then we get it, cure it. So molasses sugar, dark brown molasses sugar and salt.
Yeah.
Cure it for 10 hours.
Right.
Wash the salt off, and then I let it dry for about 10 hours. Then I smoke it for 10 hours. The trick is then to leave it in the fridge unclean filmed once it's smoked to dry it out. So then we get this nice...
Do you want me to slice it?
Yeah, so we do Swedish slice, nice and thick.
Swedish slice, nice and thick.
He knows me. Yeah. Well, I always find that when you have smoked salmon and it's thin, it's, you know, like the one you get in the supermarket, you hold it up, look like they cut it with a laser. You can see through it, right? You can't taste anything, right? You want to be able to taste it.
How many do you want, Chief?
Well, we get a couple in there. You and Pip probably need a taste, I reckon.
There you go.
Cut one of them in half. Little go on there.
Taste of this Peckham smoked salmon. There's a marketing thing there, though, isn't there? Peckham smoked salmon. There's definitely a marketing thing there.
Well, I'm not sure people will believe me.
Didn't smoked salmon originate in London, though, didn't it?
Yeah, because... And fish and chips as well, because...
No, come on. Now we're venturing up north. Now you're going to tell me that London fish and chips are better than the northern fish and chips.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're not. This is the divide. There is a line.
That we do not
I'll allow
cross.
you to cross it with the smoked salmon, but then you know.
But no, you're right. Lots of that stuff is because, obviously, by the time it came into London in the old days, the transportation wasn't there. It's getting a bit minging, right? Hence why we smoked it, to stop it. But we should probably avoid that, because that's not good marketing. So smoked salmon's because it's slightly off.
Right, do you want the salmon on a plate, or what do you want?
Well, I think we'll get it into here, right?
All right, OK.
Pesto is so green with the tops, isn't it?
It's really
Great.
vibrant, right?
Great, that.
So we discovered this when we did a lot of food styling. We kept buying parsley, and then we always had bunch of carrots. I'm like, right, I'm going to cut the food cost down here a little bit and just chop the carrot top, and it looks like parsley. Right. But then we were eating it, going, actually, this is quite delicious, right? Why are we not using this?
So, Ronnie, give us the name of this dish again.
So, carrot top pesto, shaved carrot salad, some no-waste barges, and some Peckham smoked salmon.
Peckham smoked salmon. Pip, there you go. Dive in. We'll taste a little bit of the barges. Have a bit of your Peckham smoked salmon as well to go with it.
Get one of them down
There
here.
you have it. I think they're just using a little bit of, broccoli store. It's wicked.
Nice, right? Like, you can literally use anything up. A bit of parsnip, anything just a bit soft, bit knackered, grate it up, get it in.
So light. So light. Great.
Tasty part of food. All right. Ronnie Murray, everybody. You're going to stick around today as well?
Yeah, love to.
We've got Pip cooking up next as well. What are you going to be making?
Peckham.
The leftover of this. Try doing something with that. There you go. A crispy skin of Peckham smoked salmon salad. That's what you're going to be doing. And I'll be laying on a salmon teriyaki lunch for Laura Tobin a little bit later on in the show. But after the break, we'll be finding out how we can save the great British pub from extinction. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now I'll be chatting some more with Good Morning Britain's Laura Tobin a little bit later. And we've got a masterclass in artichokes coming right up. But first, if you're wondering why we're all outside, this is the important part of the show. We've never really done this before, but I'm here with chefs Ronnie Murray and Pip Lacey to find out what we can do to save our pubs from dying out, with a little help from Matt Todd from the award-winning One Star Arms, which is a local pub to me.
Not far.
I've walked back many times over the fields. And we've got the fabulous Kate Nichols, the Chief Executive of UK Hospitality, who's joined us from London down the line. So, first of all, Kate, I want to say thank you for being a part of this. You've been a huge...
Thank you for having me. It's really good to be here.
Well, it's a really interesting... We're going to talk about it generally, first of all, because a lot has been said about hospitality in government when people are standing up. This is the first time we've really looked at this on this show, and the first time we've looked at it in 15 years of Saturday mornings, really. But I see how the importance of it now more than ever. So give us some stats, really, of the size of hospitality and the reason why it's so important to the government and the reason why they keep announcing the fact of help for hospitality. Give us some stats involved in the size of the business.
Hospitality is part of our everyday life. We all go and use hospitality venues every day, whether it's popping in for a morning coffee or going out for lunch or dinner or popping to the pub with friends. But it is a huge industry. It's £140 billion worth of revenue. That means it's bigger than aerospace, automotive and pharmaceuticals put together. And crucially, we employ over 3 million people directly in the sector, a further 1.5 million in our supply chain. So it touches the lives of so many people. And I think that's why the government has recognised its importance through COVID. And during COVID, we literally turned the lights out on the economy and our communities when you shut down hospitality. And you could really see the benefit that emerged as we came back and how much we valued it and missed it. And of course, our community pubs are the cornerstone of our hospitality sector.
Well, I'm glad you brought on to the pubs because I mean, it's not more relative than where we are now, really. I mean, yourself, Ronnie, with pubs. Pip, you've just taken the keys today.
Yeah.
Today to a pub.
Yeah.
Today. And Matt, you set up
scary.
this amazing pub. Just to get a little insight about the background of your pub, because it's not a business that you were in.
No,
You
totally.
had this idea.
Total change of career. I used it as a pub.
Yeah.
And I saw it go downhill, and it was the centre of that community. I felt welcome there. And when I saw the doors close, I just felt, no, that can't happen. It genuinely can't happen. So big deep breath, I bought the keys. That's what I did. I bought the keys and started again. And 7 years ago is where we began, and we're here.
You're a classically wet pub. You don't do food.
Which is not.
Which is not. I mean, looking at it, it's not the ideal. How do you make it survive? What makes it work for you that doesn't work for everybody else?
Well, a wet pub is a place where people come and just hang out. They come and chat. Literally, that on the way home from work, you just pop in, you have a drink, and you let the problems of the day get off your system. So I created this lounge. It's a front lounge where you pop in. You don't know who you're going to see when you walk through that door. You can be in there when people walk in. And,
I'm usually in there, exactly.
And you're chatting to everybody. And
I think that's so
thing.
important. But Kate, I mean, the statistics on a whole is amazing. But I mean, I've got some here. Over 50 pubs a month are closing at the moment. It's the first time ever we're under 40,000 pubs as a whole in the UK. It's a rapidly declining sector.
It is. You're right. You've got pubs that are facing intense pressures. We lost 10% of hospitality venues over the course of the COVID pandemic. So we haven't had much time to be able to get them into a steady state and start earning some money to restore those shattered balance sheets and reserves. And that's why you're seeing these record numbers of closures coming through.
And a lot of these places, we're not talking about restaurants. We're talking about restaurants and hotels, and that's a whole different subject as well. But you're looking at pubs, the heart of the community. A lot of these pubs are not just pubs; they're homes to families.
Yeah, people, often the manager or the owner or the operator, the licensee will live above the premises. You also find that these are the hubs of the community. During COVID, they served Meals on Wheels to their community. They set up as shops. They fed the homeless and they fed the NHS staff. They really are at the heart of their community, and they earn hundreds of millions of pounds each year for charity. And when we lose them, we know we lose them for good. They're not replaced. And the community that loses that asset is undoubtedly worse off as a result of it. So we do need to work to make sure that we've got the support so that they can survive and thrive.
So really, if we concentrate on pubs, because obviously, the cost of everything's going up, your cost of your beer's going up,
utilities, that's the big killer at the moment.
I can see stuff in the future as well, farming as well, the barley, the fields, all that is going to increase next year. It's not going to decrease, it's going to increase, because I see it from the farming side of it. The cost of fertiliser has gone up 20-fold in certain cases, so there's going to be a knock-on effect to this. There's going to be publicans, there's going to be families watching this who've got pubs, who've got this roof over there. How can they look at it, and how can they make it work? What advice would you give them?
I think it is about really going through your supply chain and working with your suppliers to see where you can make sure you're being smart. There's also tips and things that can be taken to reduce energy use and look at using schemes that allow us to invest in green technologies and green energies. I know it's very difficult to look at investment at the moment, but some of the measures that you can be taken to reduce energy consumption. And then I think being brutal, it's about making sure that you are consciously choosing your profitable sessions. And we are seeing a lot of businesses temporarily reducing hours, reducing capacity, closing for certain days of the week where it does not make economic sense. And it will come back. It will make economic sense in due course. But I think that's one of the other things that they could look at doing, because you're right, this is a perfect storm that is going to last 12 months.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. I'm sure we're going to do this again and talk about stuff that's going to come up as well. We'd love to have you in the house and talk to you a little bit more. So thank you for giving up your time and doing this as well. And thanks for everything you're doing as well.
Thank you for having me, and great to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Now, Pip will be firing up the stores. What are you going to be making for us?
A little leak number.
A little leak number?
A little leak number. I don't like leaks, but
Oh, that's
I'm
a good
going to make
start.
myself laugh.
It's a good start, anyway. I'll be laying on lunch for... It's a good job I do. Laying on for my guests, I'll be laying on lunch for Laura Tobin in just a bit. But I fully enjoyed that. But cheers. Ching, ching, ching. Long may the British pub continue. But
Absolutely.
Anyway, ching, ching. Best luck there if you own a pub as well. But I'll see you after the break when we're back in the kitchen to give you a masterclass in artichokes. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now we're treating Laura Tobin to my teriyaki salmon very shortly, and Chef Pip Lacey will be working her magic in the kitchen next. But first, it's time for this week's little masterclass. And this week's masterclass, I thought I'd look at recipes for artichokes that you're going to try at home. So there are two categories with artichokes, first of all. There's ones that grow above the ground, which are usually called globe artichokes or violet or purple artichokes. And then the ones that grow below ground are called Jerusalem artichokes, which are these. No relation, funny enough, other than name. These are more related to the sunflower family, these Jerusalem artichokes over here. The plant for the sunflower family, of course, is big, but the Jerusalem artichoke plant is massive. It's about 6 foot high. And then these are the tubers underneath the ground, both of which, when you prepare them, will discolour. So whether they're above ground or below the ground. But these will do first of all. So we'll turn our attention to these ones, really. These are your purple or violet artichokes first. How to prepare these nice and simple. So first of all, you've got a choke down the middle of it. And I'm going to show you that. If I just cut this right down the centre, you'll see what I'm talking about. So in there, you have the artichoke heart and you have the choke bit here. Now, these are smaller artichokes because with them being smaller, you can eat the entire thing. But what you do have to do is prepare them a little bit. So to prepare them a little bit, we just remove the base stalks or the base leaves from the stalk there. Like that. Just a few of the outer leaves until the colour changes that nice sort of light green. Once that's done, we can then trim it about sort of a couple of centimetres, and then take a peeler and peel it. Now, the more artichokes you do, whether they're globe or Jerusalem, the more your hands will go brown. So be careful with that. So what you want to do with this is the way to stop that is wear gloves, really. To prepare these, what we do is we take where the tops of the leaves are, you just press them, they're quite sharp. So what we do is remove the tops like that and cut this through there. And you end up with this bit over here. Then what we can do is then cut this in half. We can cut it into quarters. And now you'll get this sort of look that you get of these jarred artichokes. But then you've got to cook them, of course. So just to prepare just a few more. So we'll simply just take this, we'll cut it through, remove the outer leaves again. Like that, just a few. I'll just put the pan on so we can get that going. Use a peeler, because you can eat the stalk bit of this. So we just remove that. Cut it through, like that. And then slice that through there, and through there. So we'll do one more. So this is how you prepare these. Now, the great thing about these, you can buy these really all year round. In Italy, you'll have these a lot. In Spain, they'll use this as tapas. But they're so simple to prepare. And trust me, you can use them for a variety of different things. Pasta or just eat them on their own. They're just delicious. But once you really master the art of it and so you prepare them, there's no going back really with this because the flavour is amazing. So just trim them off like that, through there. Now, if you're preparing lots of them, you'll see already they'll start to discolour. You see the colour of that starting to go a little bit? What you need to do is put them in acidulated water, so lemon water, that's all. Just stops them colouring. But first of all, what we're going to do is get them on here. So you want some really good quality olive oil, which is a bit of that. And then we're going to pop the artichokes in. You can put a few aromats, it's entirely up to you, but that's it. We can keep those because this is go into our compost heap. Don't waste any of that because that'll compost down. Now what you want to do is then, as the artichokes not fry, but you want to take a little bit of water. So you're actually cooking these in oil and water like that. Put the lid on. Get them sort of, it's like a combination of sort of half oil, half water. And then put the lid on and we're going to just gently cook those. Just let them simmer away. Now we turn our attention to these ones over here. So these are your classic globe artichokes. Now, when I've cooked these in France, you serve these with a classic hollandaise, and that's what I'm going to do. So these are actually more simpler to prepare these. What you want to do is take the stalk like that. There's no need to peel these. That's where that stalk's inedible, so you keep that to one side. To prepare these, what you want to do is just trim off the top. Now, it's entirely up to you how far you go, but you just trim off the top like that. And you see you've got this amazing purple bit underneath, which is the choke bit. Like that. You can more or less see more of the choke. If I cut this right the way through here, you'll see what part is edible and what isn't. So this is the inside. You've got the artichoke heart, which is the bit that's edible here. This is the choke bit, the little furry bit. What we want to do is, if you wanted to prep this right the way down, we then peel it all and dig it all out with a melon scoop, and that's what you end up with. So this is the bit that you can then slice, you put in salads and that kind of stuff. But you then remove all the leaves, cut it all out, and you end up with that bit. But we're going to cook these classically, really. And for that, we cook them whole. And what you want for that is you just want a bit of water with some lemon juice. Now, classically, we'd cook this in what we call a blanc, which is a combination of flour, lemon juice, a few aromats and bits and pieces, things like peppercorns and a few herbs. And the idea is you mix the flour with the lemon juice and the water, and as it starts to cook, it creates a lid on the top with the flour, and that stops the artichokes from going brown. That's the classic way of doing it. We can simplify all that. It's just literally just water, lemon juice, and a good pinch of salt. And what you want to do is pop the artichokes in like that, whole, and then we cook these for about 45 minutes, depending on the size of it, between 30 and 40 minutes, something like that. The larger ones will take a little bit longer, but allow these to gently simmer. And these are your classic artichokes, so we can lift these out now, like that. Now, what I would do is get in the habit of, before you serve them, is you take these and just turn them upside down, because the water then drains out, like that. So you can just leave those. You can put them on a little cloth to drain them out like that. But they're your classic sort of way of cooking artichokes. Now, you can either eat these hot or cold. It's entirely up to you. But they're absolutely delicious. They really are. And I grow these in the garden. And when they're in season, one plant, it grows year on year. I just keep cutting it back. Usually sort of September time, October time, I cut it back. The following year, I get about 10, maybe 8 to 10 artichokes per plant. So a couple of plants, you've got, a couple of dozen artichokes. They're amazing. And then you can just simply serve that as it is on here, like that, with a good dollop of some hollandaise. Now, you don't need to make this. You can buy this if you want, but a nice dollop of the hollandaise sauce. But even just a little bit of melted butter, like that, is delicious. So often we used to serve this with a little pinch, a little pot of sea salt, something like that. But there you have your classic artichokes. I'll show you how to eat it in a minute. So that's that. Got another one over here. This is the one cooking down. You can see the colour changes like that. It's just delicious, this. So they're just going to cook away nicely over here. Finally, we're going to turn our attention to our Jerusalem artichokes. Now, I've actually peeled some beforehand. So what you want to do these is just peel it with a standard peeler, like that. They'll just peel. But what you have to be careful of, these will go brown quite quickly. So it's very similar to sort of salsify, that very long, thin vegetable, often called an oyster plant. It's quite muddy as well as salsify, but artichokes, these Jerusalem artichokes are amazing. They make amazing purees. They make amazing crisps as well, if you thinly slice these and fry them. They're brilliant in soups, but they're also fantastic pan-fried, which I'm going to do over here. So we thinly slice these, like that. So you can just put a few bits and pieces, nice and thin. And it is the case of one of these things. I think it's a little bit like celeriac, where people sort of see them. I watch people in the supermarket, they wander past and not knowing what to do with them. They're usually sat on the shelf. But these are fantastic vegetables in their own right. They really are. And once you master the art of preparing it, like I said with the artichokes, you'll never go back, really. They just taste amazing. So, nice hot pan on the stove. We've got a little bit of butter, like that. And the great thing about artichokes, they're brilliant for vegetarians, but also they're brilliant as a garnish. If you want to do things with chicken, or if you want to do things with fish, they're also delicious as well. So these get fried off in here. So you just get a nice hot pan and start frying them off. I've got a selection of different mushrooms over here to go with this. You can use shiitake, oysters. You've got a few gnocchi and bits and pieces in here. But the combination of artichokes and mushrooms works really well. These are little sort of trumpet de l'amour, which I got from the supermarket. There you go, a few bits of these. But it's often the case, really, that the ingredients that are in season together, these and these, They work really, really well. All right? You can put shallots and bits and pieces on it, but we're going to get this nice hot pan now and start to get this pan nice and hot. We'll start to colour these artichokes as well. Now, while they're just starting to brown, we can then add our mushrooms. Nice little bits of gnocchi in here. They can go in. And I've just got a selection of bits and pieces in here where we can start to add this to this to turn it into a dish in its own right. I've got a little bit of stock in here. You don't have to use stock if you don't want to. A little bit of cream if you wanted to. I've got a nice little bit of tarragon. This tarragon works fantastic well with this. In fact, many, many herbs go really well with the artichokes, particularly the Jerusalem artichokes that we've got in here. But just a touch of tarragon works really nicely. And very, very quickly, you can start to make a dish out of it. See, the artichokes are going a little bit brown now, like that. And then just to simply put this all together, we've got a little bit of stock over here. I can put a little bit of that in the pan, and then a touch of double cream, just a little bit. Now, a lot of chefs will put a little bit of vinegar with this as well, and particularly one vinegar in particular, which is sherry vinegar. This is a great thing to have in the cupboard. If you see this in the supermarket, buy a little bit, because it's fantastic. If you're looking at a dish that just needs a little bit of a kick, this is a great way of just adding a little bit of kick to a dish, but just a touch of sherry vinegar. And all I'm going to do now is then season it up and allow that to cook nice and gently. Meanwhile, we can then get our artichokes over here, bring these across, because they're done. Lift these out. You want to check these with a fork as well, make sure they're cooked. That's the thing, but these are nice and soft, I can tell that. So just check them with a fork or a knife, make sure they go in nicely. Now, these are the ones you can have either cold or warm, mixed in a little bit of pasta. But they're just absolutely wonderful, these. Like that. And then you want a nice glug of extra virgin olive oil over the top of that. And there you have. They really are beautiful. A little bit of sea salt maybe on the top. Wonderful little dish that, just on its own, just as a lovely little meal. They're absolutely delicious. And then finally, just this one. Really, we've got a nice little bit of artichokes over here. Lovely bit of seasoning. And then you've got a dish that... These are just delicious, whether you have them like this, just simply like this, or whether you have them with a little bit of sautéed chicken on the top, a little bit of fish on the top, a bit of salmon like that. Either way, they're absolutely wonderful, just as they are like that. A little bit of the sauce. So there we have it, sort of 3 ways with an amazing vegetable that you kind of walk past in the supermarket not knowing what to do with it. But next time you see them in the supermarket, get them, try them, buy them, and eat them, because they really are fabulous. And if you're worried about how to eat these, what you do is you take the artichoke itself like that, and you take a leaf off like this, and you dunk that leaf in here, in the hollandaise sauce, like that, and there's loads of meat in the top of this leaf like this, and you just... The French love this. They make all that kind of noise, you know. Just like that. But they're just absolutely fantastic. So there you have it. One of my favourite ingredients out there, really, is the artichoke. Whether you grow them in the garden or you see them in the supermarket, go out and buy them, because they really are fantastic. Jerusalem artichokes, purple or violet artichokes, and then classic globe artichokes. Done. Now, if there's anything you'd like to learn about, a little masterclass, then do get in touch. We'll see if we can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break, but join me again in a couple of minutes when Chef Pip Lacey's... It'll be her turn to get started in the kitchen. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now I'll be treating Good Morning Britain's Laura Tobin to a spot of lunch, surely. But first, I'm delighted to be back in the kitchen once again by a chef whose restaurant Iche, I think I pronounced it right, I have, has turned London's King's Cross into a culinary hotspot. It's Pip Lacey! And we're joined by their 2 crewers with us, fellow chefs with you as well. What are you going to be making?
Leek and lardo
Leek and lardo. So what are we going to be doing then?
So we're going to braise the leeks in a pan very quickly with some thyme, garlic, butter.
I'm going to let you get on with that.
Yep.
And you want me to do the...
I'd like you to do the lardo for me.
So I'm going to do the crispy leeks as well. You want that? And I'll do the lardo, and I want you to do this. We're going to do the oil as well. So we'll use a little bit of that, and I'm going to julienne the leeks as well. So tell everybody about this pub that you've ended up with. What you're up to, and the restaurant and everything else.
So the restaurant's doing great. We've got an amazing team there at the moment. So it's let us, me and Gordy, my business partner, do another venture.
Yeah.
And that is the pub venture, the pub world. And this dish actually it's not mine. It's the new head chef of the pub.
Right.
She gave me this list, and now, so I don't know what I'm doing.
Right, OK.
So hopefully we can figure it out.
Right.
I'm just going to wash these leeks quickly.
So why a pub for you then? Because, you know, often where you think in London, you know, there's so many places to choose from. Is it because it just came available? Were you in the area? Do you know the area, that kind of stuff?
I mean, amazingly, it's 10 minutes from the restaurant, which we never planned, but it's going to be, I think, pretty convenient.
Okay.
And, you know, we're now locals of the area, and I love a pub. I've been going to pubs my whole life, and my business partner has been as well, going to pubs his whole life, but he's from the pub world, work-wise, and we've always said that's something that we'd want.
Yeah.
So now it's actually happening, and it's amazing. So I just think the pub should be, like we were talking before, the heart of the community. I've got some amazing women that are going to run it, and
but there's something
they live
about
close.
a London boozer, though, isn't there?
Proper boozer. You can't beat it.
The atmosphere, the chat,
Yeah.
Pop in, pop out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The characters.
Yep.
Right, we will go with the leeks. So we're just going to basically just pop our leeks in there, get them in, get them frying. So we're going to do this oil over here. You've got a selection of herbs in there. You can explain to us what we got in here. Pip, what we got in here?
Yeah, so I think.
You think? You think?
Charlotte, what is it? We'll call it. So, yeah, a herb oil, chives, parsley, coriander in there.
That is correct. That's what I can see.
There
Yeah.
we go.
So we're
Nice
going
green, fresh herb oil.
blend these up, and then what oil are you using? I mean, we've got a little bit of grapeseed oil in here. This.
Yep.
You don't want to use olive oil, do you? Really?
No, not too much. You just want the flavour of the herbs and not the olive oil.
Right, there we go. And then take the leeks. These are out. These leeks are amazing, but they do knacker your fryer.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that.
And they go everywhere.
Yeah, they're just... you've got to clean it all out, yeah.
They look lovely, though.
Yeah, they look really nice, thanks. Yeah. Right, those are your little...
Best fried off, not in your fryer pit, right?
In somebody else's house, that's always a good thing, isn't it?
Is that enough for service tomorrow?
Exactly. Right, so we're going to blitz these. You're going to get a really... Thing about this oil, you want to blitz it really, really well. Because this is where you get the colour from.
It's almost until it splits and heats up.
Yeah, you want it to really, really blitzes and the colour changes. Like that. So once you get to that stage, and then we can pass it through a cloth.
A bit of salt in there.
I'll put a little bit of salt in there, yeah.
We won't be invited back, Pip. I use the blender as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The crew hate it.
Put a little bit of salt in there, but what you want to do is you want to just leave it in the fridge like this, don't you, really?
Yeah, and let it pass.
You let it drop through, because you find yourself, if you force it through, the water comes out of it, it separates, it's not good. So you can just let it drip just ever so carefully through there, little bit at a time, and you'll end up with this amazing oil, which we've got in the little dropper there.
And the perfect is one you made earlier.
Exactly, yeah.
And then the leftover from the oil you can put into your carrot top pesto.
Exactly.
Instead of the basil, right?
Exactly.
There we go.
Now, tell everybody about this larder, including Matt that we have here.
So this is the best fat.
The best fat.
Best fat. Well, actually, no, if you're going to go Iberico on me.
So, you know, if you invited me to your house abroad, because you've got a house in Spain, if you saw me getting out of the swimming pool with Speedos, this is what I would look like. So this is just a cross-section of me.
The best fat.
This is...
It's the back fat of the pig.
OK, the back.
But look at the pig. Look at the pig. Look at the fat to the meat. This is what it is. and you want to slice this.
That's what you want on a pig.
Yeah, you
Big
slice
fat
this
porker.
through, and you just take a little bit of this lardo like that.
So thin.
Well, you try and get it as thin as you can, really, but
It's been cured for like 6 months in marble and spice. There's a few spices on there, so not only salt, there's cinnamon, a little bit of thyme,
Is it
a
an
little bit of
international
rosemary.
product, or is it something that's...
well, this is
specific
Italian.
to
This one.
Italian,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
Italian, yeah.
This is Italian. I'm gonna lay out there. I think the Spanish is better. The black-footed pig, pata negra, it's called. It's spread on acorns. It's amazing. It's amazing, but it is amazing.
But lardo is... You need to, you know...
Lardo is amazing.
It's Italian.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll shut up because I'm getting stuff in a big
I don't
hole.
think I've
here.
tasted Spanish lardo yet.
Right, I'm gonna send you some, but you taste.
Neither Pip nor I want to go in that hole with you. Thank you very much.
There you go. So we'll just taste that. You've got to taste it with it. Don't take the fat off. You've got to eat the whole thing.
Okay. Oh, I thought you'd forgot me, Chef.
No, you eat the whole thing. So if you take the fat off, you've got. This is the whole thing.
We're witnessing this for the first time.
We're witnessing what's happening. You see.
You wouldn't know that's fat.
Right, it's just the best, right?
You would if you ate all this and you wake up in the morning.
Yeah,
You definitely would.
Trust
right.
me.
So what have you got in here then?
So I've just put the butter, thyme, and garlic in there.
Okay. Have you put any cream in there yet?
No, I'm going to put it in the cast iron and let it reduce a little bit in the oven.
Right. So if I lift this and we'll get this preheated on the.
Okay.
thing.
Yep.
There you go. So that's that. And then you want to put the leeks in there then.
Yeah. Oh, chicken stock. I'll put it in there.
Chicken stock.
Yeah, a little bit of chicken
So I'll
stock.
take this away then, shall I?
That's okay. Yeah.
Because we're all chatting about...
That's what it is.
Lardo.
We're all chatting about lardo and Spain and all this sort of stuff. It's gone off piste.
Just got to have a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't worry about the leeks. Just do a plate of lardo.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm all right.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
It is, but when you look at that, people just think, well, that's just fat. And you go, well, yeah, it is.
But there's fat and there's fat, right?
I wanted to call our restaurant Fat originally and just cook.
I'd come. James
Yeah,
would
we
come.
would
I'll be
never.
there.
And that might be it.
It's got taste.
So I had a big argument with the publisher about what I should call my book. I wanted a whole book called Fat. I think, why not? And they didn't like that.
No?
So we went for a whole book on butter.
Which is more or less the same.
Which leaves us to do book 3 on fat.
Yeah.
But look, but fat's an amazing thing.
You know, I give you the best thing I ever had. I went to a pub, and they said, I said I have a portion of chips with my dinner side order, and they said, how do you want it cooked? And I sort of looked at them a bit blankly, and they went, like I was mad, and they went, in the fryer with oil or the fryer with lard. I guess which one I went for.
So this is the lardo, which we'll lift up. So tell me about doing the pub food then, because this is going to be very different to the restaurant that you're doing.
Yeah. As I said, it's a bit cleaner at the restaurant. So pub is going to be led by Charlotte, very young, talented chef.
Yeah.
I want it to be her menu with just my guidance. You know, pub classics or classic pub style. I think I'm not going as far as Ploughman's, but we're going to have like a braised meat and hearty
Pies.
Yes, sometimes we're going to have pies maybe for the football. We're not going to show football, but if someone's on their way to go, they just stop for a pint and a pie before they go.
You're going to change it quite often? Change the menus?
Yes, yeah. That's the thing. I think with a small team, you can change the menu more often, and that's one thing that will be very different from each day. Sometimes we can't change it because we've got a big team there, and you want them to be trained properly. But if there's only a few of us working in the pub, we can literally go, right, no more leeks. Tomorrow's going to be carrot tops.
Can I just say, look at this.
I'll come and do your carrot top. Look at that.
Okay.
Oh,
Look at that.
So this might be a side dish. It might be a main dish, depends.
I'd nail that as a main, right?
Yeah, you'd have that as a main, wouldn't you?
Plateful.
Yeah. Do you want me to hold it?
I think I needed a bigger spoon. I need a bigger bowl.
Too late now.
A bit late now, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's too
it
late
doesn't
now.
matter. It's fine. Uh-oh, dripped.
Right, I'll finish that last one.
Okay.
You finish off this one. They are very, very tasty, I've got to
Smells
say.
great already.
It smells delicious, right?
I'll finish that as well. And you need time for that cream to reduce as well, don't you, really?
Yeah, that's why
That's the key to it.
Just blast it a little bit in the oven. So I think we're thinking if this is a side dish, you're going to have a little cast iron dish, still bubbling when it goes to the table. OK, put a couple of pieces on there. OK, we're on some Brazil nuts.
There you go. That looks great. Look at that.
Okay. Yeah. There we go. It's maybe a bit too much for a side dish.
It looks pretty good to me.
So yeah, we'll make it into
I was just thinking to myself, if that's the side dish, imagine the size of the roast. I'm in. Right? See you Sunday.
It's great, isn't it?
Okay.
Happy with that?
Yeah, it looks great. First time. So
First time. Give us the name of this trial dish we're about to try on these lot.
Leek and lardo.
Leek and lardo. By Pip Lacey, everybody. Right, there you go. Dive in.
Dinner time.
We feel like guinea pigs, really, if you've never done this before. But I'm pretty sure you have done this before.
I feel like we're at the tasting for an opening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Going, needs a little bit.
Fingers crossed.
Oh.
That is amazing.
Thank goodness for Charlotte. That's all I can say.
Well, hopefully I've got the right girl for the job then.
Well,
so, I think.
How good is that, eh?
Listen, if you're not sure, I'll take her.
Take the job as well. There we go. Pip Lacey, everybody. Brilliant, brilliant. We've still got time for one more final course, so join us again after the break when we're serving up a show-stopping salmon dish, it says on my autocue. It's salmon teriyaki to me, but anyway, it's for my guest, Laura Tobin. That's after the break. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, I'm back to the last part of the show, sadly. But I'm back in the kitchen with all of my guests. Yay! All of them. Look at it. It's like I feel like a fast food joint. Where are we going next to it? Right, for my final dish, I thought I'd treat you all to a recipe of salmon teriyaki. All right. So salmon teriyaki we're going to do with tempura shrimp. We'll give that a go with some charred broccoli and some amazing chili stuff, which we both love, don't we? We're going to introduce these guys to this. This is a secret we're about to give away, isn't it? Really?
Well, I'm sort of a bit nervous, really.
Exactly. We're going to explain it in a minute, but we've got on here the salmon, first of all. So just some beautiful salmon, and I'm going to use this. This is a little bit of koji. Now, koji's a fermented rice. You can buy it in packs like that. Chefs are starting to do it themselves, but I would leave that well alone because I got fermenting and doing stuff at home. I feel like you're going to blow your house up. I just think you're only a few steps away from a new roof, really. So even with the rice, I'm just going to take this koji and sprinkle it over the top. And you leave this with the fish. You leave it for about an hour, no more than an hour. Now, meat would you leave? Chicken would probably about an hour. Steak for about 8 hours. But with this, no more. You can buy it from online as well, this sort of stuff. Pop it in the fridge, leave it. I'm going to wash it off, and this is going to go in the oven. Meanwhile, I'm going to give my assistant over here these prawns to do. So, Ronnie,
yes.
We've got some shrimp over here.
Beautiful.
We're going to make a lovely little sort of deep-fried mixture over here, which I know that
You and I have the same batter, right?
Yes, this is it. So we're going to teach these guys with the batter.
Another
particularly
secret.
Pip, because this is another secret we're giving away.
So, like magicians.
Exactly. You can explain what this is while I'm mixing it together. So off you go.
So gluten-free flour. So
Yeah.
two great things about this. Number one, all you people that can't eat gluten suddenly can eat fish and chips now. And just cider.
Self-raising flour.
Gluten-free self-raising.
Yeah.
And cider. And the joy of this is it's dead simple and also stays proper crispy, right?
Yeah. And you just mix that together. Would that be the right texture for you?
Yeah, I think so.
About that, something like that. And then we could season it up with some salt. You can put things like a little bit of coriander in there. I don't think it needs it, but what I will do is I'll leave you that, because I know you might well a little sip of that while we're at it.
Sometimes you need to adjust the batter along the way.
Precisely, Chief. I will leave you to then deep fry that to your heart's content.
I'll get cracking. Yes,
over
Chef.
there. Meanwhile, I'm going to pan fry this little bit of broccoli over here, but First of all, we talked about your career earlier. I mean, big love of quiz shows and bits and pieces.
Yeah.
We can talk about forever and a day, but we've got to talk about this book. So to explain to us what this is all about.
Just think, in a world where we know that our climate is changing, and, you know, we had the extreme temperatures this summer, it was insane, we got over 40 degrees Celsius. I didn't think in my forecasting career, even in the next 30 years, we would reach that, and we did. And, you know, when the air temperature is hotter than your body temperature, that's when you need to start to worry. And then people just want to know what they can do to make a difference. So it's a one-stop shop of small and big things that you can do as a personal level and in a business level. And actually, the big thing with everything that's going on in the cost of living crisis is so many things will save you money as well. You know, I walk to school with my daughter and I pick her up and we get fresh air, we're not driving our car, it's good for the environment, it's completely free. We learn lots on the way, we pick up ladybirds, we pick up sticks, we do litter picking on the way home. You know, we have a lot to thank nature for. We need to just protect it as much as we can.
Well, I know if you go to his pub, he's built this amazing structure outside as well, these little huts that you built as well.
Outside in the fresh air. So...
Everything, I mean, we talked about saving the pub as well, everything trying to survive in terms of the business. You've managed to do all that.
I was just saying to Laura just there that when the bills started coming in big, I went through an exercise for a month and just looked at everything, power usage-wise, and changed what we did in the pub and reduced our electricity bill by 21%.
Wow.
That is a lot.
That is huge.
I thought we'd get 5%. 21%.
I'm taking notes. They're already in there.
Key holder just
I've
today.
ordered them already. It's happening.
And they all count. And I'm showing your book, there's lots of little things that add up.
And that's
Pip's
the
just
problem.
taken delivery of the keys to a new site in London today, a new pub today.
No way.
Yeah, so I've been picking his brain big time. But yeah, all these energy-saving tips are going to be, we can start off like that rather than
And
do it
it's so crazy we weren't already doing these things.
we can all be more efficient.
And that's the thing, so many things that you can do to make changes will be healthier for you. You know, you can cut back on red meat, you can still eat meat, but if you buy locally and it's fresh produce, it's going to be better for you. Buying your seasonal fruit and vegetable. I'm sure you just, you know what's in season, but most people don't.
Well, that's the thing. And we've got our salmon over here, which is available all year round. There we go, the farm salmon as well. But that's the thing, it's educational, really, and that's what... I mean, you said that, you fell into TV like I did. We didn't really... You didn't ask for it, but it's the responsibility that I think you have to pass that knowledge over. You know, it's a big voice, so people follow you.
As soon as I did, I loved it, and I've been so lucky. I went to Svalbard last year. It's a little tiny archipelago north of Norway, and it was warm. It's warming more than anywhere else on planet Earth. And I saw how the glaciers are retreating, and that's causing sea levels to rise, how the polar bears can't get the fish that they need to because the waters are changing, how the economy is changing because there's not the ice for people to go out and do the tourism. And I just left there feeling really overwhelmed and really moved, and I thought, I need to do something, so...
Right, well, look, I'm going to introduce this ingredient now that we were talking about earlier. Ooh. Now, this...
Are you sure?
I think we should... Should we give the game away? Why not? So this is called chili crack.
Sorry?
I call it chili crack. In Japan, I'm sure they call it something else, but when I call it chili crack... Not to be confused with chef's crack, that's a whole different thing altogether. But, so this, what you do with this is you take this and you sprinkle this over the top. Now, do you want to explain what's in it?
It does, don't worry.
I can't... Oh, God.
It's chili, it's onion, it's umami, it's everything.
It's the good stuff, right?
Don't you think? It's everything that should be in food and a bit more. So we've got our little teriyaki over here. We're going to plate this simply up. There we go. You like that, don't you?
That's it, I'm done. I'm off with that.
It's got the recipe.
It is. The salmon is just gently cooked. We're going to cook this no more than about 5 minutes. Now, what you don't want to be doing with this salmon is you don't want to be barbecuing it because it'll burn. And what I mean by that, the koji has got this natural sugars in it as well, so it'll catch fire and it will go up.
I cook salmon for 20 minutes, no?
Hello?
20 minutes. The only thing I cook is a salmon stir
A
whole fish?
A whole one?
No, just like that.
20 minutes?
Yeah.
It's already dead.
It definitely is after 20.
20 minutes?
20 minutes?
Yeah, I thought that was... It's the only thing I cook, and I do it wrong.
I've got good news for you. You can half your time you wait for dinner.
Well, Pip's next. Salmon in the oven, how long?
I think everybody always at home cooks fish way too long in the oven. They're paranoid about it. Don't they?
Clearly.
Just bring it back. Bring it back a little bit.
Bring it back by how much?
Oh, like 15.
Maybe 16.
I would say
10. Yeah.
See, we've just saved you a fortune.
It depends. Is it room temperature?
Yeah.
Is it not? So
I would say no
10,
more.
go
I would
10.
say in the oven no more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to cook that for about
8 to 10?
6 to 8 minutes.
Okay.
But certainly not 20 minutes. Yeah. You'll make sure it's well done anyway. That's the thing. But do you cook many dinner pies?
No.
No, right.
I do the wine.
So we take our salmon that's been in the oven for
Okay, fine,
6
I get
minutes.
it.
6 minutes. And we're
It
going to lift
might need
that
a
up.
bit longer there, James.
No, we don't. No. I want it pink.
6 minutes, I think, is too much. Look.
Yeah, I think we're going to take our nice little bit of salmon.
Bit over, yeah.
Take our little bit of salmon. And we got our.
This for a dish.
We'll take our nice little bit of teriyaki sauce, which we can take that over the top,
Oh dear.
Oh my goodness.
around the edge.
Literally salivating like a dog.
That's great.
Chef, there you go. There you go.
There we go. That's me happy.
So you're all right over there.
I'm done.
We're going to take a bit of that.
What I want to know, Chef, is have I passed my trial, Chef?
Yeah, exactly. We're thinking about doing a fish and chip shop, and I said to him, look, if you get this right, you can get the job. You can have the job. What he doesn't realise, the fish and chip shop's quite a lot more portions than what we're doing over here. But I think on the basis of that, Chief,
you get me a bigger fryer.
Yeah, well, no, it's hired. I don't think we need a bigger fryer. You need to work a little bit quicker, but that's all we need. Exactly.
Must try harder.
Exactly. But I think all we're going to do now is just take a little bit of lime over the top.
Oh my goodness.
Fresh lime zest
Imagine the smell of that.
over the top. And there we have it. My version of sort of teriyaki salmon. You can cook it for 20 minutes if you wish, but I would give it
Okay.
about 10 minutes.
Starting to wish I hadn't come today, James.
And there you have it. A little teriyaki salmon with some tempura shrimp to go with it.
Amazing.
Easy as that. Done. Bon appetit.
Thank
There
you
we have it.
so much.
There you have it.
This looks incredible.
There we have it. Me and you left with a jar and a tray of prawns. Is that right?
Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. Dunk it.
Here we
in.
go, Chef.
But this is
Is that salmon, like?
This is proper chef's food.
This is.
Here we go. Look.
The salmon's really tender, surprisingly.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not going to upset her again, right?
You were anticipating it being raw in the middle, don't you?
Yeah, I wanted to complain, but no.
But taste it, wouldn't it? It's like a flavour, boof, sensation.
That broccoli is amazing.
Yeah.
Broccoli is amazing.
Easy as that. Well, that's it. That's all we've got time for today. A massive thank you to all my guests. Matt Todd, Kate Nichols, Ronnie Murray, Pip Lacey, and of course the fantastic Laura Tobin. Brilliant show today. We'll see you back here at the same time next Saturday morning. We'll be joined by more top chefs, other brilliant guests. Until then, take care. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I'll see you at my house next week. Bye for now. Right, let's have more of this.
Yeah.